Hello, I'm Vigil. This is my stream journal. The date is 7/13/2022 and the time is 16:28. I got my new lamp. It's awesome. Red, green, blue, yellow, orange, yellow. Wait, hold on. Light green, blue. Anyways, and it has all these different settings. It's awesome. And it can do this. It can do this. It can do this. And it has variable adjustments. And it even has like it can do stuff with music. But anyways, I wanted to talk to you today about using adversity, even straight up just fucking torture, to become a better person. um, you don't have to lie to yourself and be like, this pain doesn't bother me, or lie to yourself and say, I'm glad I suffered what I suffered. It's always easy to say after an event happens to say, well, I wouldn't change anything for the world. In reality, you would. Like, if you were forced to relive something that was horrid and it was horrid enough to where it really caused you problems, like, it's a conditioned fear aversion. And, like, I guess all I'll be discussing right now is that my program, or like of ALIS, or Latin for wings, it's through this adversity that I will create my program. Like the torture, the electroding, the endless attacks, the endless lies, the endless deceit, the information matrix that this small community lives in, which they have no idea what they're saying when they read those transcripts. I'll be talking about like being abused as a child, and they'll smile at me and go, "Yeah, yeah." It's like it's retarded that they can't realize what's going on, but I understand it. They're not trained in this sort of thing. Like they don't have any experience with deception on this level, or like literally deep fakes that go back thousands of years, or like fictional narratives that go back thousands of years. They're just not ready for this level of the game. So for my enemies, they're useful idiots. And I have to deal with their constant beratements, being spit at, and shit like that, because they believe falsehoods of the people who framed me. And, like, they don't even know what they're saying half the time. They're either being remote controlled, lied to, or they're sociopaths. Because I'll talk about, like, me being abused as a kid. And they'll go, yeah, that was a great fucking thing. And it's like, it's obnoxious. And, like, I guess, adversity. Most of my adversity throughout my life has been mental. Like, mentally, my mind destroys itself at times. Like, at self-talk, cognitive distortions, I just lay into my mind, and it kind of creates a living hell. And I think that it's weird. Fire applied to the body with a good mental health, in the sense of like the Rage Against the Machine flag CD album cover, where the monk is self-immolating and he's sitting there peaceful and calm as he burns to death by choice. There's that level of self-discipline, spiritual discipline, self-control, willpower, and just like a mind at peace, like nirvana, which is the absence of the mind and the absence of existence, leaving this recycling of creation. And then there's the other one, where you have a millionaire or billionaire who's just bitter as fuck. He can get any pleasure he wants and anything he wants whenever he wants it. He can break any law. He can do anything he wants, and he's miserable. Like, so I guess I lost my train of thought. Adversity, torture, suffering, all of these things, I wouldn't say you should seek them, but they will find you. They find everybody in the end. Like, sooner or later, we all perish, and sooner or later, everybody ends up in hell. And you don't have to grin and bear it. You can overreact, you can yell, you can scream, and that doesn't lessen your strength. It just means you weren't prepared for it. And you can prepare, like the Stoics believe, for intolerable suffering, but don't think that you will be able to endure it through pure rage or pure like willpower is important, but you need to find something that is at your core, something that can't be modulated. Mine is just, I went through rage, I went through trying to outsmart and like outwit, and I tried to set up plans and schemed and plotted, and like there's still a part of me that's unbroken. There's something that continues to drive me forward and resist despite the oppression of being under their thumb and like just the complete degrading of my life that they have done. You know, like they're playing on child abuse. They'll make happy birthday comments, which relates to being abused as a child, like emotionally, and then they'll smile at me like I'm somehow this monster while they're doing this or that to me, and like, but there's a part of me that continues, and it's a core, and like, I don't think I've reached my core yet. I think that everything that's happened, I don't want to go endure another suffering like I did. Like, you know, I'd rather enjoy my life. I don't have the pride that believes that I can overcome. I do actually, but like your pride, your rage, that won't get you through to the end. Eventually, those things will crack or fade, or they'll start to self-consume. You have to find something in you that is the core of your being, like something that cannot be broken, despite the fires of hell applied to your skin in cages, and like memories stolen or warped, combined with like them freezing up your visual center and freezing up your mind, except for your pain center, and just like that's what they did. But like, I guess people say it'll all be alright, and that's, I think, a foolish narrative. Like, human history, just tragedy. Like, literally, all of human history is pretty much just a tragedy, and constant loss, sacrifice, unfulfilled desires, corruption, tyranny, torture of innocent people and stuff, and like wrongfully having mobs attack people because the elites framed them and shit. Like, human history is a tragedy. You can find comfort in Levi with an irreverence for all things, of all suffering, provided you don't do it from a place of hate. Like sublimation of your agony through commentaries, art, humor. These are tools that help us get through what we're going through. They should not come from a place of hate, but you can make fun of your suffering. You can make fun of other people's suffering. You can make fun of anything you want, and that's okay. Like, anything you want to make fun of. It's sublimation. It's taking something that would torture us mentally and emotionally and psychologically and shit, and subliminating it so we can continue moving on. And like, the adversity that you will face, I didn't see my adversity coming, but it was predestined. Like, I was named DJ, and then everything after that, like, it was already in play. I didn't do anything to cause it, despite the horrid amount of attempts to make me blame myself, which were successful for a long time, but aren't with me anymore. And I think the community will start to see this eventually. And when they do see it, they just erase their memories and start them over. That's why I've beaten the hive mind logically like a dozen times since I've been here. But your adversity, you don't have to seek it. You don't have to have the pride of like searching for it, like to endure the suffering, like cutting yourself or burning yourself to prove you're strong and stuff. Like, don't do that. I guess you'll find something in your core, and it might be something that you know from the start that you believe in, something that arises in the darkest depths of the hell that whatever occurs. Something will be found, and like it will become an indomitable seed, which from it your spirit will grow. And like your spirit is your willpower, your ethos, your beliefs, your ability to make jokes, your ability to remain serious when everyone else is apathetic towards something. Um, it's through this adversity that you'll find your common core, or not your common core, but your hard core. And like, you don't have to be filled with anger to be strong. You don't have to be filled with pride to have good willpower. Humility should only teach you that you have to have industry over time and applied willpower, doing choices that further whatever you're proud of. Humility simply says we're not naturally strong. We're not naturally good at stuff. We're not naturally this or that. It takes time and effort and choices over time to create what you can be proud of. So humility is simply saying if you don't train, you're not going to accomplish it. I think that's important to learn, that we have to remain humble, and how we remain humble is by exploiting our time ruthlessly to have industry over time and willpower applied with priorities made so we can develop the skill sets that we want to have, which we can be proud of. And it's okay to have pride. We are not an equal species, or like everyone should have inalienable rights. These inalienable rights are maintained through force and like kinetic direct action. Like our freedom is not like, it will decay and degrade and fall apart if it is not maintained by a trained wit that operates a good nib with a free-flowing ink and a sword held at your side at all times. Like your freedom is like, your freedom should really be displayed in like your mind and your speech, and like it should be shown through your novel thought patterns, your ability to change your mind, would not be a bigot, or at other times the ability to hold firm to your beliefs despite all people saying you're wrong, and like you maintain this with your sword. Like the sword is man's only means to maintain his liberty, and like his liberty is shown and reinforced and grown through his writings. So like when push comes to shove, the sword will defend your liberty. These rights are inalienable, but they can be stripped of you through violent kinetic force. And like, so you have to defend yourself and others with violent kinetic force at times. But then owning the gun isn't freedom. It's what maintains the ability to have freedom. Freedom comes from the 20s, like in our country mostly, it comes from 26 symbols, 26 characters, ordered and grouped in random, or in methodically planned organizations with spaces and shit, with dots after them and exclamation points and whatnot. Like your liberty is made real and actualized through writing and reading, and like that's liberty, is the ability to grow yourself indefinitely, and you do this through reading and writing, introspectively, journaling, fictional art, technical manuals, like so. Like, before you arm yourself and go to war or buy guns and shit like that, write something and see if you're actually defending anything. Like, if you can't write out something that like really shows you are free mentally and that the chains are off, you'll end up pulling the gun on somebody you shouldn't, because someone else controls your mind and the chains, and like puppet strings, marionette strings, whether directly or indirectly, group hive minds that coerce you, a direct order from like an authority figure that self-imposes, like the Milgram's experiment. If you can't create with your mind and learn and discover and truly exercise and grow your freedom, there's no point in buying a gun. But so through this, I'm gonna kind of come back to what I was talking about. Adversity will come. It may never leave. Everything will play itself out. It may not be okay, but it will play itself out. Freedom is not freedom should be inalienable, but it's not. It can be taken through violence. which is why you must decide with your ethics what level of kinetic violence you'll respond with to defend yourself. But before you buy guns, try writing 100 pages in a free-flowing stream journal. Just write 100 pages for however long it takes, writing your thoughts that come to you, and then reread it and tell me, is that worth defending with a gun, to take another human's life, to defend whatever came out of your mind in those 100 pages? If it's not, you're not free, and like you're not nurturing your freedom. And freedom is a mindset. It's like it's an attitude, and it's a ability, and it's a loyalty to something you believe in, which should always supersede loyalty to any person. Like your loyalty is your fidelity to your belief system, which is your character. And like you can never trust a man to be loyal to you. You know, you can never trust someone to be loyal to you ever. You can expect them and know they'll be loyal to their character based upon what you know of them. A man is always loyal to what he truly believes in, I think. And like because of this, you pick people to trust based upon their character, not their relationship with you. But anyways, I'm gonna completely move away from everything I was just talking about. The A-List program, it's WINGS for Latin. Essentially, it's a hyper meta-human creation, apotheosis, branching, for my religion, subcult. And it's designed to create godlike beings, or in the sense of like Greek gods, not the Judeo-Christian gods. They're all-knowing, omnipotent. But I'm currently in the lion's den. Like, it's planned for me to see that. And I'm electroded, I'm drugged, I'm targeted, they deep fake things, they lie, they edit, they censor, and they get a community all riled up to target someone. This is adversity. I'm in a cage with all of creation opposing me. They think that, at least. The small community around us, those who, outside the community, I seem to get a lot of praise. But, like, it's adversity that is a real enemy. And, like, the odds seem overwhelming. And so, the best thing I can do is fight until I'm literally non-existent. And like, if I get remote control, as soon as they stop, go back and go back to what I was doing and fight them again. And like, if they start to use any means to try to break my will, one, it's not going to work. You can trick me, you can remote control me, you can coerce me with violence and pain that literally overpowers my neurons, but you're not going to break me. You can't make me believe your false belief system. It has to have character, and it has to be a willingness, or like a willing belief, and like I just don't have that for them. And like they may rewire my brain with electrodes and chemicals and all these drugs and like Neuralink remote controlling and shit like that, and psyops, but the level of sophistication that it was required for them to do this means I'll essentially be dead. Like, once you take someone's brain and rewire it without their ability to stop you using technical mechanical means, you've essentially, like, it's no longer the same person. It's consciousness maybe, but like it's not you didn't break them. You just simply killed them and took the parts from them and rewired them. Like, you didn't break them. Breaking someone requires you to convince them that you were right and that your belief system is correct. And like, you don't really do that with pain compliance. Like, pain compliance can break a human being, I guess, like mechanically, and destroy their mind and stuff. But like, once you get to that level, you're not really breaking them. You're just simply destroying their mind, cutting it out piece by piece. And that's not breaking someone. And like, you shouldn't fear breaking like I did. I was raging for 5 years in a cage in endless sorrow, and like, because I was always so positive that I was about to break, and I just could not let that happen, and I stoked my anger to make sure it wouldn't happen. And like, the reality though is that it's not a sign of weakness or to be broken to simply not get angry when someone tortures you. I thought it was. I thought that like if I lost the anger, it was like somehow I had been broken, and I don't think that's accurate. But like, no matter what you face, it'll play out. And I know I reiterated a whole bunch, just kind of how my mind works, but essentially, like, the adversity we face grows us as characters. We don't have to seek it. We don't have to want it. We endure it whether we want to or not, and it may end or we may die in it. And like, there's no dishonor in like really not wanting to endure something, but you'll find that your core, it's there is something inside every human being, and I think it's different in every human being. It's a seed that is watered by the adversity, and like, it sprouts as soon as you crack. Like, it sprouts as soon as you like lose face and like lose everything, like lose, like, you know, and like, and then all of a sudden it takes root, and like, the only thing that can destroy it, I don't think there is anything that can destroy it. I think in hell you endure for however long, half of eternity, and then you crack, or like something happens and you snap, and then suddenly a seed that's indomitable starts to grow. And like, I want to believe this. I think that I choose to believe this, and I think my faith in this will teach me how to make this real. Like, our prayers essentially aren't always instantaneously answered, and I don't simply mean supplications to God. I mean, the things we do don't have instant effects. And like, so what this means is that you have to nurture and water the seed that is your indomitable will. And it's not like well, I'm choosing to endure all of the suffering I can right now, and like, because that'll break you. That's pride, and like, it's not backed by anything. It's the belief that you will overcome something because like, you think of yourself as strong and you think of all these things. But like, David Buckley talks about how like, love or whatever is a broken hallelujah. Hallelujah means glory be to God for what He's created. You see someone beautiful, you say hallelujah. You know, like, God created you and it's glorifying Him. And like, but in your darkest hours, and like, do not be afraid of breaking. And like, because even if you do, something will be planted when you break. A seed that will grow whether you water it or not, I guess. And it's something that gnaws at us. It's like, as it grows, it starts gnawing at us. And like, you can sense it, you can feel it. Like, and what I mean by this is like, it's like Darth Vader when he threw the Emperor or whatever over the railing and killed him. That was the gnawing of an indomitable seed that had been broken a long time ago, and like, when he cracked a long time ago, planted and then sprouted in that moment, and he just reversed course of 30 years. And like, it'll all play out. It'll take twists and turns you do not expect, suffering that's unmeasurable, and like, moments of pure bliss that you can't comprehend as your mind snaps or breaks or pops, aneurysms, tortured, eroded, cut out, like, and this I want to believe. I don't think I'm near my core yet. Like, I genuinely don't think, I think the surface has been scratched, and like, I thought I could maintain my willpower with anger, and I did, but it degraded me, and I was essentially internally desolated. And if a lesson is to be learned from this for you, it's that levity and humor in agony is superior to rage at those who are causing you agony. Like, one, those who cause you agony, when you curse them and stuff, it reinforces their false beliefs that what they're doing is right. If you make really humorous jokes that are light and witty about your suffering and about their authority over you and stuff like that, It'll drive them insane. It'll drive them into a rage unbelievable. They'll torture you even greater. But it's the sign of a true willpower. Like, willpower is not anger, it's not pride. It's the ability to have irreverence. It's the ability to have seriousness when everyone else has irreverence. It's the ability to go against the grain, or at times choose to go as a crowd. And, like, I don't know. I'm going to think more about this topic. I guess what I wanted to say is that even if you're in the lion's den and your enemies are the ones attacking you, use it to better yourself and grow yourself. Like, observe them, watch them, and understand them, and then choose to go from there. And, like, sociopathic, like when you crack and when your willpower is being tested, when you're tortured, it turns you into a monster. It did me. But, like, the monster is needed in a human being. It's why I want to name, if I have a kid, I want to name her Lilith, because it means night monster. To remind her that the beast within her is a good thing. That, like, she doesn't have to bow down to society. She can be, but then at the same time, it's to remind her that the wolf that lives in us, like, the raging wolf that I think is in every person that's ever faced adversity, or, like, it must become an ally. It has to be integrated into you. It has to be accepted. And, like, your thoughts aren't you. Your words are what you feel, and your actions are what you believe. At times, though, our actions are inhibited by fear, which is what we feel, and our thoughts, because like, our thoughts can often drive us to do actions that we didn't want to do because we didn't take moment, breather, or whatever. Like, I don't know. This is a long video without a lot of direction to it. I just wanted to show off my cool new light. Anyways, you will endure. It'll all play out no matter what happens. So just endure and learn and grow, defeat adversity, overtake the enemies, and create something grand.